We're back at it for part 2 of the cylinder head on this 292. So I got the the lumps all done. Those are all good to go. Next, if you saw in the previous video, link is up here if you want to go back and watch that, see what I did on it. Now we're working on the valve train. So I had already drilled out the valve guides, but then I realized that these stick up. And if hindsight 2020, I say that a lot because I do things for the first time a lot of times. These stick up, let me think, what was that number again? 1316, so it stuck up about 800 thousandths. Well, with the lift that we are going to be doing, we're setting this up to be a max lift of 600 thousandths lift. So we're dropping this from 13/16 all the way down to 1/2 inch, so it should be about that tall when we're done. So they'll be about here with the seals installed. That's a lot. So cheating, I'm putting this in the mill. I should have done this before I drilled out the valve guides. Learn from my mistakes. If you do this, it'd just be easier. And I've been taking I plunge mill to take out most of it, and then to make sure they're all in equal height, I'm surfacing them just like this, and it just looks good. Makes it look like I know what I'm doing, because we all know I don't. So I'm gonna get the setup on the tripod, and you can see me do 2 more of them. You'll get the idea, and it's just repetition. I don't need to see the depth. I'm just kind of going off of my DRL. So if I go all the way to the bottom, there's chips in the way, but I'm 20 thousandths away from the depth. And so then I'm just gonna go down. Then I'll just go down 20 thousandths more and then skin cut it so it all looks uniform, just like these do. And then hopefully they'll all be the same. Then the valve guides can be all the same length. It just looks good that way. So I'll set my milling bit off to the side, get it set to my depth of 0, lock it down, and I'll zoom in so you can see better. I need to get a really nice tripod for my camera so that way I can have it in any place I want. And I have my electric feed going this way, and I'm kind of controlling it with the y-axis. It makes things kind of hold say that looks pretty good. So just finished these two. Got a nice uniform cut. Those valve guides are going to be the exact same height. Valve springs are all going to have the exact same tension. It's going to be like a brand new cylinder. And I forgot to mention how I bolted this one down. I'm actually kind of proud of it. It's angled, so it's not flat with the table. So I got my T's that go inside the table rails. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. I got my words. They're not the same as everyone else's. And I just use carriage bolts. It's got a round top on it, so it's a little... I might even have to grind the words off of it to make them all round. Because that works pretty good. And then I could just kind of get in there and tighten it until my bubble said it was level. Just a little bit of a mounting trick for you guys. There it is. All 12 of them are trimmed, and we are ready to put the valve guides in and start work on the rest of the head. Got my valve guides installed. I can't find a direction on the depth, so I'm just going with 1/2 inch. That sounds pretty good because of the depth of the seal is 3/8, so that picks it up just a little bit off. And if I look inside here, right there, you can see it sticks down just a little bit. And I think that'll be a pretty good height. It's a whole lot less than what it used to be. So, guides are done, on to the next part. Just had a stroke of genius. Once in a while, I have an original idea. Or it might not be original, but I'm about to cut the seat, so I go put the cutting tool right up against it, and then I make it. If my seat is, here we go, 217 of a depth, well, I make a spacer with feeler gauges that's 217 and make it so it fits in between my stop. Then I know I'm going to be pretty dang close. I just thought that was a pretty good shortcut. So now we're cutting the seats that were originally in it. I've got this seat already installed. I do the complete process on one just to make sure that everything's good. And then this is my order that I've found that works good for me. Now everyone's got their own opinions. I go 25 thousandths under the seat size all the way across. I've got, this one's complete. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 with a rough pass, and then this one I haven't done. My seat size is 1.630, so I cut it to 1.6, which I've got this already set at. So I'm going to cut this, and then I'm going to rough it to 1.6, and then I'm going to do a finish pass of 25 thousandths, so that'll put me at, for a 4 or 5 thousandths press roughly, and that'll put me at the 625. So starting off with 6, and then I'll do a 625, and this is to a depth of 217. There we go, I'm ready to cut this seat. Center the spindle on the cutting tool. now this one's done, I'll go set up my tool for the finishing pass. Take another 25 thousandths off. And since we're just the first cut, that's a lot of material that comes off. That's a lot. But this time we can go quite a bit faster. I'll do 150. There we go. Now I'll get it set up so I can drive that new seat in. So I got my new seat here. Make sure that the chamfered side goes down. And then as simple as whack it with a hammer. There we go, we got a good press fit in there. And this is how much bigger this valve is. This is the inside of the valve before, and now it's here. That's a big difference. That is a lot more valve surface. It's going to make this engine really breathe the way it should have from the factory. So we're making big differences here, lots of progress. So we're going to get the rest of the 4 more exhaust seats to install, and then we're going to do the exact same on the intakes. Seats are cut, or the spot where the new seats are going. As you can see, it's a huge difference. 3 more to put in. I'll set the camera up and then you can waste your time watching that. Just go until it don't go no more. I make this tool myself. I just take, I can't remember the fraction, but these are 390 pilots, so I just take a 390.3906 drill bit, drill 4 inches deep or so, 4.5 inches, slips right onto the pilot, and every time I do a seat, I just make a new tool that holds it. So I use a 4-pound hammer and it goes in pretty quick. So there we go. New seats are put in, and I'm gonna do some porting. We've got 100 thousandths on each side, so this is a 200 thousandths bigger seat. That's a lot. So we're gonna do some porting, get rid of that, and we're gonna make this thing flow like it should have from the factory. I have to be a little conservative out of fear of hitting the water jacket. So I'm just doing for now, I'm gonna add some more in a bit, but I'm just doing a 45 degree using a seat cutter and just cleaning up that edge. I'm doing the exhaust right now, and then I'm just gonna get this by hand with a Dremel and get that material removed out. So I just need to be careful of the water. I don't want to make it too thin. Just need to make it flow good. So I got a little bit of the hand porting done. This is what it started from, and that's what it looks like now. Kind of taking that edge away and getting a smoother transition into the throat of the valve, of the exhaust port. So I got my exhaust ports all cleaned up. They're looking pretty good. Nice transitions. Just have to be careful on how much to take off, because that water jacket is about the thickness of the wide part of my screwdriver. So that's what I'm kind of going by. So here I went up pretty much against the seat, but for the intake, when I get to that in a bit, I'm not gonna take nearly as much out. So I'll just work on a nice transition into that seat, but I don't want to remove too much. I'd rather lose a tiny bit of flow than grind into a water jacket. I'd have to say, obviously I don't get paid by Snap-on because I'm not good enough, but this little guy, I love it because this battery finally ran out after cleaning out all 6 exhaust ports. That's a lot of grinding, and so I just have to say that's pretty dang good. And it works really good. It's really light, easy to use. It almost feels like you're using a pencil. I started on the intakes above the where we took out the brace for the head bolt, and originally it looked like that, and now we're here. So slowly chipping away at that to clean that out, to give it a much more direct, something not in the way. Well, we're porting it. We're making it look good. So that's what's next on this one. Now I've got my intake ports all cleaned up, looking shiny. I started on my exhausts, getting those cleaned up and smooth. Getting rid of the casting marks. It just makes the airflow so much better. And here I'm cutting a 45 degree. Again, going back, I want to make sure I'm not hitting that water jacket, so I'm just going to make a smooth transition. I will take a little bit off this edge once I get to it. But this process is very much sped up by using a seat cutter to remove a bulk of the material. And I'm trying to one-hand this. So hopefully that makes it a whole lot easier to cut the material out. Now I'm in the process of shortening the valve guides. I've got 6 more to go. And how I do this is I just set up I've got a 5/8 end mill in there right now. And if it's only 1/2 inch wide, it's just give or take. It's kind of eyeball it. There is legit tools for doing that, such as this thing, but I don't have the size, and well, I've got a mill sitting around. Cylinder head porting is complete. It is sanded and polished, looking pretty shiny. There's lots of little black spots and stuff here and there, but if I were to go and get every single little black spot out, it would just take days and days and days. Eventually just kind of have to say, you know what, it's a motor, it's gonna get a little dirty. Oh well. But I'd say, man, in the right light, that looks pretty good. Next step is to get these seats cut. So let's get on that. And this is the part that you guys are looking forward to. Me too. Cutting the exhaust seats in brand new seats. There's nothing better. I just cut real deep, and it's a beautiful, it looks beautiful when it's done. Alright, alright, alright. There we go. Fresh looking seat. 3-angle, 60 thousandths side on the seat. And we got 60 degree, 45, and 30 degree on the top angle. Looking nice. And now for the intake seats. Going from a 1.75 to a 1.94. So just over 3/16 of an inch bigger. Where am I? There's my tool. There we are. Looking pretty good.